This year I dreamt of wearing this House of CB dress for a wedding and an ambition to sew it myself. And that's how this dress was born. I didn't film the process because I had literally 3 days to make it from scratch. The pattern, the testing, and the sewing. But my sister loved it so much, she asked me to make her exactly the same dress. So here we go again. Today we are sewing a wedding guest dress for my sister. Hi, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Aniela and I make videos about sewing, knitting and crochet. If you clicked on this video, you probably know the brand House of CB and their amazing collection of dresses that looks like a wardrobe of a princess, and maybe you want to recreate it for yourself. You're in the right place because today I'm going to show you how to draft the pattern and how to sew it. So the dress that I designed is a combination of two House of CB dresses, the Contessa, the top part, and the Mademoiselle dress, the skirt part. So it features a tight-fitting corset top that is cinched at the waist and a voluminous long circle skirt. It may seem simple, but it's incredibly impressive in movement and dance, which makes it a perfect choice for an event like a wedding. So first of all, let's talk the materials, and then I will show you how I drafted the pattern. And for drafting the pattern, you will need a basic bodice block that fits you very well, the measurement of your waist circumference for the skirt, as well as the desired length you want your skirt to have. So yeah, let's get started. First, we are going to need our main fabric. I'm using here a linen viscose blend in this sage color. Then we are going to also use a little scrap fabric. I'm using 100% cotton in white. Doesn't matter the color, but the neutral the better, because we are going to sandwich it in between the shell and the lining to put our boning. And for the boning, I will be using a 0.5 centimeter plastic boning zipper. I'm going to use a invisible zipper, 40 centimeter long, thread in the matching color to our main fabric, and some pins, scissors, and a measuring tape. To make the top part, trace your basic front and back bodice patterns until the waistline. I'll provide the link to the tutorial I used to create mine. For the front, lower the armhole by 1.5 and raise your upper bust by 3 centimeters. From this point, draw a parallel line to your upper bust and bust line. Next, find the middle of your dart. Draw a perpendicular line until this line. Then on this line, mark 1.5 centimeter in each direction from the apex. And on this line, mark 3 centimeters to the side and 0.5 centimeter to the center front. Connect these dots. Then round the lines. Draw a straight line connecting the armhole with the front and round this line as well. Take in 1 centimeter from the side and 1.5 centimeter from the top of the side. Connect and transfer this 1 centimeter to the center front. For the back, again, lower the armhole by 1.5. Connect this point with the back bust point with a straight line and draw a curve take 1 centimeter from the side and 1.5 centimeter from the top and transfer this 1 centimeter to the center back and connect. Slightly curve the dart lines. Remember to mark your pattern pieces and cut. For the skirt, draw a line 1 centimeter away from the edge and another perpendicular line 1 centimeter from the edge. From this angle, mark your waist radius and connect these dots with a curved line. Now find the center of this line and draw a straight line that goes through the angle and this point we just marked. Add your radius to your desired skirt length and mark then connect them with a curved line. Add 1 centimeter for the hem and 1 centimeter for the seam allowance and cut along the pink lines. And here are all the pattern pieces. So we have 2 skirt panels. Here's the back and front skirt. Only the front skirt is cut on the fold, so we have to take away the seam allowance and cut it on the fold. And for the back, we are going to cut with the seam allowance because there will be a zipper at the back. And this is the front and back side piece that are exactly the same. And here we have the bodice pattern. So here's the center front, which is cut on the fold, then the side front, side back, and center back. And this is optional, but you can also put in straps. I made mine about 70 centimeters long and 3 centimeters wide. So here are all the pattern pieces for the bodice, the straps, and the skirt. And here's what is left. These are all the scraps, and this is a emergency piece that I will use if I messed up. Good morning. Yesterday I only cut the fabric, so today I have everything prepared to start sewing. To explain you a little bit how this dress is made. So the top part is basically a close-fitting tube top that ends at the waist. It is constructed from 3 layers. So we have our main fabric outer layer, we have our lining, and we have a middle layer, which I decided to use for making the casing for the boning because I didn't want to sew the main fabric and the lining so that the casings are visible on the outside. I hope I explained myself well enough. There are some methods of inserting boning without 2 layers of fabric, so you basically just stitch the boning onto the seam allowance of your lining. However, I don't have this particular boning and I am going to use what I have, and I have a plastic boning which I believe can be only inserted into a casing. And the skirt is made out of 7 panels, so we have 1 center panel, 2 side, front and back panels, and 2 center back panels. and the zipper is inserted at the center back. Oh, I forgot to mention the straps. If you wish to put on the straps, which I highly recommend, because as I noticed with my previous dress that I made for myself, as it is a quite heavy dress, it tends to drop a little bit, and if you want to feel like comfortable and really enjoy the event you're going to, I just suggest you do the straps and don't worry about any wardrobe malfunction. And the straps are inserted when the outer top part and the lining part are sewn together at the top edge. You can do either a strap to measure, you can do as I did, I will do in this video. So 4 separate straps, 2 at the front, 2 at the back, and then you have the possibility to tie it in different ways or make a cute bow at the shoulders. So yeah, that is basically it. Let's sew. To start off, take your center front piece and your side front pieces, match them up right sides together, and sew along the edge using a 2.5mm stitch length. Then take your side back pieces and center back pieces, match them up right sides together, and again sew using a straight stitch with a 2.5mm stitch length. Then match the pieces together at the side seams, right sides together, and stitch with a straight stitch. Remember to backstitch at the beginning and the end. Then press all the seams open. You can make notches or trim the seam allowance at the curves, and then repeat the steps for the middle layer and the lining as well. Match the middle layer with the lining, wrong sides together, and baste along the top edge. So I have basted the top part of the lining and the inner layer. It's just to keep these 2 layers together while we sew the boning channels. So I used a 4mm stitch length to do so, and I will take this basting stitch after I sew the lining to our outer layer. So now to sew the boning channels, I am going to sew directly next to the seam right here, and then 5mm away from the seam on the outer edges of the seam facing the back, not the inner ones, but here. So first a stitch right next to the seam, and then 5mm away from it. If you have wider boning, maybe sew a little try of the boning channel on a scrap fabric. I already know that my boning fits perfectly in the 5mm boning channel, so I'm gonna do that. And while sewing, I will just make sure that the seams are aligning. It won't be a huge problem if the stitching isn't aligned and on the other edge you will go out of the straight line. Either way, the inside will be securely closed and we will see only this part. So this is our inside of the dress. So this should be pretty, and this, it doesn't matter if it's pretty or not. So I'm not even going to switch my thread to the white color. I'm just going to sew it with the green one. And yeah, so all in all, our top is looking like so. We're going to stitch 6 boning channels in total, one on the center seam, one on the side seam, and one on the back seam. And notice how there's this curve, and we are going to place this curve against our body. So as this is the lining, we are placing the boning like so. So the curve facing our lining. And now to create the straps, fold the strap pieces lengthwise right sides together and stitch. And to turn the strap inside out, attach a yarn needle to one end of the strap and very gently thread it through the tube. Now press and set them aside for now. Now let's move on to the skirt. Place the center skirt right sides facing up. Then place the side front pieces on top of it and sew along the edges. Repeat for the back. Match the center back and side back pieces right sides together and sew along the edge. Then match the pieces right sides together along the side seams and sew. Leave the center back open for now to later sew in the zipper. You can also baste the waist of the skirt to keep it from stretching. Press all the seams open and overlock. Now attach the outer top layer with the skirt right sides together, matching the seams and pinning all along this edge. Then sew using a 2.5mm straight stitch. Check if the seams are in line and then remove any basting stitches from the skirt. Here is our outer dress complete. It's so flowy, and to be honest, I am starting to enjoy this color. Very fairy core. And it looks really gorgeous, especially that it's a natural fiber. Very nice. Now we are going to attach the lining with the boning inside, and together we are also going to sew the straps on. So I have decided to place the zipper before I sew the lining, just because there's so much fabric that I believe it will be slightly easier. I marked where I want my zipper to end, so I measured from the waist 20 centimeters down on each side. And now I am just going to sew the skirt. So from this point right here, it's 20 centimeters down from the waist. I am going to sew straight down until the bottom of the skirt, and then I am just going to sew an invisible zipper onto the dress as I would normally sew an invisible zipper. I have no other tips than just change your foot to an invisible zipper foot and take your time. You can either press the zipper before attaching it to the dress. You can also before secure it with a regular stitch using a regular sewing foot, and then go in with the invisible zipper foot. Now match the lining with the outer dress along the top edge, sandwiching the straps in between these two layers. Remember to pull out the boning, not to stitch over it. Then trim any bulk and top stitch the seam allowance to the lining using a wider stitch length, like a 3mm or 3.5mm stitch length. Then stitch the lining to the zipper using a regular zipper foot. Trim the corners and turn right sides out. Hi, let me show you the dress. It's almost done. Yesterday I was pretty tired and started making mistakes, but I have managed to put in the zipper. I have to only press it because I haven't done any pressing yesterday. I was really determined to do every step to finish off the top and attach the straps, and actually I failed at attaching the straps. I was too impatient to line them up properly, and that's where the mistakes begin. So I decided to leave it for today. So this morning I have already went in to correct the straps. Now they are lining properly at the edge of the seam right here. So the problem was the front straps. I left the back straps as I attached them yesterday. I have also top stitched along the edge to turn the lining inside. Oh, and I have also sewn the lining to the zipper. So the top part is practically done. All I have to do now is to attach the bottom. First of all, I have to trim the boning so they are 1 centimeter inside, so then I can fold the edge of my lining pieces and stitch them to the dress. And yeah, that will be pretty much it. I will do it by hand, and maybe I will then stitch it down on the outside, just stitching in the ditch, so in my sewing line when the skirt and the bodice are attached together, so it's not visible, but the lining, top lining, is securely attached. And after that, it's all done. All there is to do is hang the dress, wait, and then adjust the length and hem it. After stitching the bottom of the lining to the skirt, I also trimmed the straps and later sewed them up by hand. The dress was finally ready to hang for the night, and the next day I evened out the stretched skirt. Next, I folded the edge one time by 1 centimeter and stitched as close as possible to the edge. Then I trimmed the excess fabric, rolled the hem over once again and stitched all around. Then I gave the dress the last press and it was ready. I love it, my sister loved it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want more videos from me, please like this video, subscribe, and we'll see each other in the next video.